Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Infinite Crypto Cruisers. Hey there, folks. My name is Brad Varnell, and this is the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. And today I am so excited to introduce you to a gentleman. He's no stranger to the channel. He's been on here before. We've actually been talking about this project now for over 2 years. And I'm just really excited to hear about all of the new developments and everything that is being put into place and the mass adoption that I believe that this project is bringing into the AI and real world asset space. So without any further ado, I'm looking forward to talking to you today, John Trask, CEO and founder of Dimitra IO. How you doing today?
I am fantastic. Thanks for having me here today. I really appreciate you having me on the show and giving me an opportunity to tell people about our project. So thanks for that.
Man, it's my pleasure. I'm a firm believer, and I've said this before when we talked, and I mentioned it even on the video that we did not too long ago, that, making a living while making a difference. And there's so many cryptocurrency projects out there, in my opinion, that I wonder why they even exist. Like, what do they do? What problem are they solving? How are they helping anybody in the world? And I've said it before, and I'll go on record saying it again. In my 8 years of cryptocurrency experience, I don't believe that I've ever found another company that provides more real world use case, real world utility, and is helping more people across the globe than Dimitra. So it's our honor to have you on the channel.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate the kind words. We get up every day and work hard and try to make it a better world for farmers and the food and agricultural industries. So uh, it's a lot of fun. I love my job. Got the best job in the world for me.
Absolutely. So, maybe some of the viewers that are watching this today didn't see our interview from about a year and a half ago, I think it was, somewhere in that ballpark. So, maybe give them just a little bit of your background and how Dimitra, came about, how it got started.
Yeah, so my background is a computer programmer. I started as a programmer quite young and built numerous types of systems. I went into supply chains mostly and worked on how do you move food and goods around the world, supporting everything automotive and consumer goods companies, food companies, and energy companies. Um, Built systems that um, were incorporated in major systems in the world, um, and spent a lot of time consulting. And consulting taught me a lot about what the logistics supply chain industry needs and the food industry needs. Um, a few years ago, I did a project in Africa. It was a great project, kind of tracking farmer registrations and things like that. Did that on a blockchain. Loved working with blockchain since maybe the late 2010s, and found lots of opportunities to deploy blockchains. This program took off and formed the basis of what Dimitra is now. And Dimitra now is a mobile-based tool for farmers to help them improve their farming. So a farmer can go on an app and essentially tell us where their farm is. And then we have lots of programs for them. So we can help them analyze their farm to improve their output. We can help them register for carbon credits and go through a digital path of getting carbon credits for their farm. If they want to work in a carbon sensitive manner, we have RWA programs for them. We're running RWA programs right now in Kenya and Brazil, and we're adding a few more in Latin and Central America, possibly Indonesia. We're just working through the approvals on that. And then we have satellite technology and just a whole bunch of stuff, deforestation, regulation, compliance, which is probably going to be the biggest thing for our token this year or this coming year. So that's a great thing that maybe we can talk about as we keep going here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of the cool things about your project. When I first started, researching it and was introduced to it, I saw the value in helping farmers. And then, even here I live, in the United States, as I know you do too. But, one of the things that I didn't realize until you mentioned it in our last interview was, yeah, the technology and everything that you have can help big farms too, but that the way that you guys are really impacting the world is in some of the smaller countries, in some of the areas where a 10% reduction in cost or a 10% increase in yield is actually life changing for some of these smaller farmer operations.
Yeah, we work on so many great projects, and a lot of our farmers are in need. There's hundreds and hundreds of millions of farms in the world, and 550 million of them are smallholder farmers who don't have a lot of acreage. They don't typically have a lot of revenue, and there's different strategies that we can employ to help them change their life from a monetary perspective. We're working on a project in Kenya right now, and it's an RWA project. They also use our application to track how their crops are performing. And you take a typical farmer, and let's say they're farming onions or carrots or cassava. um, they may make a couple $1,000s a year. They're not making a lot of income. In between their rows, if we restructure their farm, do an RWA project to help them afford planting avocado trees, and we put 100 avocado trees on an acre, once those trees are matured, we can take them from a couple $1,000s a year to 30, 40, $50,000 a year in revenue. And they don't have the means to plant those trees today, but we've come up with a unique way for people to come in and buy some of those trees, and for $50 get 20% ownership in a tree. And over the years, as that tree grows and produces, the tree can produce 100 kilos of fruit. And right now we're getting $1.50 a kilo, where in
Wow.
Kenya they might only be getting 40 cents. So not only are we helping them get 4 times the revenue because they can comply with export regulations, we're increasing the yield on the farm and really changing the game for a farmer. And so if you took, $5,000 and put that as an investment in a farmer, and I've bought many trees myself, I'm going to make good recurring revenue for 10 or 20 years on my investment, but I'm really changing the life of a farmer.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I really love about Dimitra is, my belief that this last 6 months and the next, several years moving forward, that AI and, RWAs, real world assets, are going to be two of the biggest growth, sections of the world and cryptocurrency. And you guys, you didn't have to do anything special to move into those. It's like these two niches were just like part of what you do. You're so early. You were doing AI and RWAs before the rest of the world even knew they existed almost.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting how the evolution came about, but really our objective was, how do you help that farmer? How do you help the farmer increase their revenue? How do you help the farmer make more money, and at the same time make a decent investment in that? And then how do you use AI to help them make decisions to improve their crop yield, or manage pests, or reduce the waste that they have? And there's just so many ways to apply that. So everything we do is just good business sense, and I'm glad that some of that is trending, because the trend helps us as well, and hopefully attracts more people to helping those farmers.
Yeah, absolutely. And would you mind touching on, it sounds like, you know, some people, including myself, when I first started really checking India, I thought to myself, man, must take, computers and a lot of incredible technology in order to be able to implement some of these things. Like, how much does it cost to do some of this? And then from what you were telling me, I mean, like, you've literally got people running some of these programs and some of these softwares right from their mobile phone.
And that's really the goal. Most of the farmers in the world don't have even a laptop, let
Right.
alone a PC. So mobile is the way to do it. We build the platforms in the cloud. We set them up and interact with various blockchains. So Ethereum blockchain, and we recently did one on an integration with another company on Komodo, so a Bitcoin based blockchain. Everything ties back to our token, and so yeah, maybe we go through a lot of expense to build the program, but on a per user basis, it's quite inexpensive. So it's been a lot of fun building it out. We have a very large team. Our team is approaching 200 people and kind of in the central office or offices. We work remotely.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the field teams now, we're 1,000 people. So, and we have really big projects. A big one this year is deforestation compliance. We're setting up right now with the cooperatives, coffee cooperatives in Ethiopia, Cameroon, Kenya, Uganda. And then if you move over to Latin America, we're in Peru, Colombia, Brazil, Honduras, and then Indonesia. So more and more and more. In Ethiopia alone, we deal with 12 cooperatives and have about 1.3 million coffee farmers that need to declare their coffee next year for
Right.
deforestation. And so starting January 1st of 2025, all coffee producers and importers who move coffee to Europe need to declare that they're deforestation free and prove that. And we have one of the only apps to do that. We are the main one in crypto. And so they come in and they commit. We give them the reports. They pay based on either a licensing agreement or the tonnage of coffee they're selling. So if they're selling 10 tons of coffee, there's a formula. And they pay in DMTR. So it drives volume. Some of our first programs and this initial program, we have a burn program associated with deforestation. So, there's two benefits. One is the revenue benefit that goes through the token. We pay our bills with that. So, we have AWS services that we use and different cloud services that we use and have to pay the team that's working on it. But at the same time, the revenue exceeds that and there's profit. So there's money that stays in the token, building more and more liquidity in the token. And then there's some burns associated with it. So we do have this year periodic burns because it's a test year. And the law comes through on January 1st. But after that, then there'll be monthly burns based on the volume of the month. And as the year progresses, we see more and more people jumping on board and using the app for it.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it today. Like this week, we've done testing and work with the second largest coffee importer in Italy, a top 4 coffee roaster in Italy, a top German coffee company, and then probably tests with, I don't know, 20 co-ops. I'd only be guessing. I guess I could add them up, but more than a dozen. And that's what our typical week looks like now. We have so many people working on closing these deals and really preparing the coffee industry, the cocoa industry, the soy industry those are the main three at the moment, even though there are others on getting ready for January 1st.
Yeah, I love it. One of the things that I think is really cool about Dimitra, and you're so strategic. You really are thinking, it reminds me in chess, where a good chess player might be thinking, one or two moves in advance, but the grandmaster is thinking about, 5, 10, 15 moves. And it really feels like you guys are doing that at Dimitra. Everything points back to your DMTR token, all of the utility and everything that is flowing through Dimitra leads back to your token, which is one of the reasons why, like I said, that I really love your project. There's so much utility with what you guys are doing. And it sounds like you are also really in close with a lot of government agencies and a lot of regulatory bodies. And you help these farmers, you help these coffee bean, producers to really stay compliant and make sure that they've got all their I's dotted, their T's crossed, and that they're doing everything right.
Yeah, we do get a lot of support from governments and cooperatives and different corporations, and that's great. I'll give you an example. Right now, we're doing a great project with the United Nations. You guys will see more about that this fall. So we'll have some video and some stories about what we're doing with them. And if you watch our Twitter page, we have videos about different meetings and different activities that we're doing with customers around the world. So it is fun working with them. I mean, one of the big ones that we're doing right now is an ESG program.
Yep.
And so many of your viewers have heard about our relationship with Abrafrutas, which is the Fruit Association of Brazil. Brazil exports about, they're the third largest fruit exporter in the world. And so we have a strategic program with them where we've digitized an ESG program. And so there are new ESG regulations that are coming out in the world. Europe's got some coming. America's got some already in place. And so Abrafrutas is putting this in place for 80% of their exports. And so consider who Abrafrutas and Brazil, the country, sells to.
Right.
They are some of the largest food companies in the world. Imagine, there's one juice company that buys 1 million tons of oranges from them. They will be using the Dimitra platform with Abrafrutas to report their ESG. And so now we've got Diego, who's our chief operating officer. He's from Brazil. He was in Hong Kong this week at a large fruit show, co-presenting with Abrafrutas on how we're changing the world on Brazilian exports. Now, we have all kinds of countries that want to emulate what Brazil is doing from an ESG perspective. We have an announcement in a couple of weeks. We've got this brilliant lady who's just joined the company, and she's starting as our director of ESG. We think ESG is going to be a big program for us, and so she'll be leading that, and there'll be lots on social media about that when she joins, or actually she's already joined, but when she starts up in October, on October 1st, and we'll be having her at events around the world, working on ESG initiatives. So really excited about that. And, we probably couldn't have signed up with a bigger, larger, more influential fruit association in order to do this. And I thank Abrafrutas for their trust. We've been working with them for a couple of years, and I think they're doing great things in the ESG side of the business.
That is phenomenal. And for some of the viewers that not quite sure exactly what ESG stands for or means, can you just kind of give us a little bit of a idea exactly what ESG is?
Yeah, so the term is environmental, social, and governance. But really, it's the policies that a corporation or government needs to have in place to make sure that they're complying with all of the environmental regulations and pressures, the social, how do they treat people? How do they treat the world? Are they a good member of society? and then how they govern their business and their processes, and kind of from a overall governance perspective.
Okay.
It's simple for us. I mean, our platform, we have a scorecard that we've created. It's agricultural focused for agricultural and food companies. And so it'll score them on how well they do. And then depending on what's done, we work with them to help them improve their programs. So if they need to, reduce a certain amount of deforestation or offset a certain amount of carbon, or deal with different issues around employment, all of that, we handle the digital side of that for them.
Okay. Awesome. And it's, you also are very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, aware of, oh man, my brain is going blank on me. Very aware of the environment, and you're working, with, doing carbon credits, and really, helping, doing everything that you're doing without necessarily increasing the footprint, on the earth. You're actually doing all that you do and actually making an impact environmentally too, if I understand what we were talking about off camera correctly.
Yeah. So, if you look at globally the environment, cars and planes and transportation industry is probably the biggest polluters. And then the second largest contribution to the environmental degradation in the world is farming. And there are ways to farm in an earth-friendly way. And there are ways that had been developed over the last 100 years in America and Europe and around the world that maybe haven't been the friendliest way. And so these smallholder farmers we work with, they want to treat the environment well. It creates a whole bunch of benefit for them. Global warming is a problem, and it's changing the crops that people can grow and changing the techniques that they need to employ. So, I'll give you an example. I talked a little bit about Ethiopian coffee. We have a program in Ethiopia right now for those 1.2 million farmers that we are giving them advice on how to farm in a more eco-friendly way, to sustainably farm. And that includes planting shade trees for their coffee trees. The great thing when you plant a shade tree for your coffee tree is that shade tree stores carbon. And one of the challenges that small farmers have is that the cost of audit and the cost of submission of carbon credits is too expensive for them to participate. We found a way digitally now in order to help them participate and provide visibility, transparency, and auditable records that the farms are complying with the recommendations. And those recommendations we can actually measure using satellite and sensors whether they're yielding more carbon storage. And so if a farmer makes the effort and does the things that are right from a farming perspective, they can make a couple $100 extra a year. If their farm's big enough, they can make thousands of dollars extra per year. We help them file that. So they sign an agreement in order to allow us to do their filings. And then there's a cost that's recovered because there's cost of those sensors and things like that. And then there's a profit sharing, and they make cash and we get some profit, and that all comes back in DMTR. So again, nice. You look at this and our program in Ethiopia over the next 10 years with just 2 of these 12 cooperatives that I mentioned should produce about 45 million tons of carbon store. And right now, a ton of carbon is running between $12 and $20. So now if you take that $12 and say, how big is the Ethiopian program? It's $450 to $600 million, depending on the price we get.
Right.
That's Ethiopia alone. And so we'll see that as the farmers come on board And the first year they may only plant a few trees, but over 10 years, they'll plant a lot of trees, and you'll see a curve go up of how many tons of carbon are offset,
Yes.
how many tons of storage we're creating by the techniques that they're using. And the farmers will make, again, hundreds of dollars, maybe even thousands of dollars for doing some of the things that they're doing today, just doing them a little bit differently and reporting on them.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I want to go back and touch on something. The avocado trees. If there's, people watching this video and they have, a passion to be helping, and, this sounds like they can benefit themselves a little bit too. How does somebody go about buying an avocado tree and getting in on that ecosystem?
So today, the best way to do that is go to our website, dimitra.io,
Okay.
sign up for a portal account, and you can go in there and with your credit card or DMTR, you can buy some NFTs, and essentially we store each avocado tree in an NFT. So we're creating a digital twin of the tree. You'll get the geolocation of that. You can go on Google Earth and look at your tree as it's growing and make sure your farmer's taking care of it. You'll get reports from us. The farmer takes pictures and puts them in our app. So those will come for the trees a couple times a year to show how your tree's doing. And in the report, when you buy one, you'll actually get a performance report for the farm to show how effective the farm is. So we look for farms that are in that 75% to 90% suitable for avocados. We don't want to put trees on farms that have to do weird things from an irrigation, or there's not adequate water, or whatever the case may be. We want to pick farms that are suitable for the crop. And so you can just click on the portal there and register for an account.
Okay. Which tab is that?
Portal right in the middle, top middle.
Top middle. Where okay, perfect. So they go to Dimitra.io and then just click on the portal here.
Yep.
And then I'm going to share this tab as that loads up. Maybe it's going to load up, hopefully. There we go. Okay. And then here it is. Okay. So they can just, their email address and a password and create an account there.
Yeah. So at the top, you can see login or register.
Yep.
So if you've already are in Dimitra and stake Dimitra and have a portal account, you can just log in. Otherwise, click up top to register. We don't track a ton of information, but your email address and password, get in, get your account. And if you're staking, you need to KYC. Yep. But if you're not staking and you just want an account, you don't need to have that KYC. You can look at some of the trees that are for sale and things like that. We have a new program coming up for Brazil where we're going to do the same. We've done a deal in Roraima, Brazil, again with a couple Brazilian government associations in the Amazon for planting cocoa.
Wow.
So we'll see some cocoa programs for Brazil. I've got some in development for Indonesia and Honduras and Mexico. We're looking at different programs, but we'll probably only release one every 3 months or so as we're working on marketing and adoption.
Awesome. Now, are those rewards, if they buy an avocado tree, are those rewards distributed out to them in DMTR tokens?
DMTR, yeah.
Beautiful.
So if we say your tree produces 50 kilos of avocados in year 5, and we sell those for $1.50 a kilo, there's $75 there. You'll get 20% of that in year 5. When a tree is mature, around years 8 to 10, it may produce 100 or more kilos, and you'll be making $30 a year for that initial $50 investment, and it's going to scale as the tree grows and matures.
Right. one of the things that I really love about what you just said is, once again, there's so many cryptocurrency projects out there. Don't get me wrong. I love crypto, and I know there's a lot of incredible companies, but there's a lot of cryptocurrency companies out there that have no idea if they're even going to be around in 10 years. And when you look at them, you're like trying to figure out, like, why would they still be around in 10 years? What are they doing that's got longevity to it? I love the fact that you're talking about 10 years from now like it's nothing. And I believe you're right. I mean, I think that Dimitra is going to be around for as long as this planet is around. And so I really like the long-term mindset that you go into with everything. And on that note, I wanted to kind of share, I know that your Twitter account is, one of the places that you really put a lot of time and effort into sharing a lot of these new technologies and all of your new updates. And so, folks, if you're watching this, go click on the link in the description. It's going to take you right to this Twitter page. For those of you that, can see this here, it's just at Dimitra Tech. You got over 41,000 followers. And once again, you mentioned, that your Twitter page here is just someplace with a wealth of knowledge that if people want to know more, you've created all these incredible videos and everything here on your Twitter account. So is there anything that you would like me to highlight while we're here looking at the Twitter account?
Yeah, I mean, we tag the most recent stuff or pin the most recent stuff typically at the top. If you scroll through, we produce probably a video every week and a couple news pieces. The other thing that is great about our company, we are in crypto and we get great coverage out of Cointelegraph and different publications. But we also get a lot of mainstream coverage. The big players, Reuters and Forbes and people like that, write articles about us. That, this article here is something that I wrote that went into a carbon magazine. But
okay.
There's a lot of posts on there that talk about different things that we do. And then if you follow, either me at Dimitra John or $DMTR and our page here, you'll see a lot of community discussions. We have some really good community members that if you get into Dimitra, that, they're talking about what we're doing and there's some good conversation and debate about how different AI tools are used and crypto tools like RWA and then just the traditional stuff like how the carbon market is growing and the growth potential for carbon in the world is astronomical. The article that I wrote there that is in the Carbon Herald gives me a chance to speak about how I think the carbon markets are getting things wrong. I think that's not Calvin Klein on the stage there. That's his Twitter handle or X handle.
Right.
But he's speaking at an event in El Salvador, working on some programs down in El Salvador and Honduras and a lot of the Central American economies. So you see stuff around the world, programs that we're running in Africa and Europe and Indonesia and all over Asia, all over Latin America, and some of it's in different languages. So we've got guys working in the Middle East and they post in Arabic, and we've got a Spanish version and a Portuguese version and a Chinese version, and so just so much going on in the world, and I appreciate our community and your community and how they support us. So it's great, and that's probably got the most relevant information. It's quite easy for us to post on Twitter more so than modifying our webpage or whatever the case may be. So
yeah. Awesome. Yeah, man, we'll definitely start funneling as many of our community members over to Twitter as we can. I have to assume, you guys were early in AI, but correct me if I'm wrong, this explosion over the last couple of years and the way that AI is developed, how has that affected Dimitra? I've got to assume that you guys have access to some AI and some technology today that wasn't even a blip on your radar screen just as in the distant past, as just as a year or two ago, right?
Yeah, I think that the market brings forward more and more opportunity and more tools that we can use. Our tech team is very AI focused. We have an entire department that focuses on data science and artificial intelligence. We build a lot of our own, but as the big AI players are building more tools, we look at what they have and determine whether that's a good fit for us, and how we can adopt that in order to provide more insight to the farms or to our business or whatever. Our CTO, Peter Thorstensen, he is a big promoter of AI to help us with programming efficiency. We're running pilots now to see, using AI, can that make us more efficient at writing code for our web tools and for our mobile tools. And then David, and if you look in those videos, there's a couple where David comes in and speaks. David Rivas is our head of AI, brilliant guy, PhD from MIT and all of the credentials. And he works with the agronomists and the AI team to come up with cool ways. Like, we're doing a project right now in Nigeria where we're analyzing the entire country and its potential for growing more sugar, so Nigeria doesn't have to import sugar. And so we take the entire area of Nigeria using satellite data and AI and do an analysis of 20 or 30 factors that impact the success of sugar, and the government pays us to do that. And then all of those sugar farmers will end up using the application in the future, so they can take advantage of all that research that's happening. And we do that research all over the world. We are doing research right now on coffee and cocoa in every coffee and cocoa producing nation on the planet. And that feeds our ability to help those farmers and cooperatives and food companies make better decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. And, we're not going to go into, investing or the token price or any of that, but I do want to mention to my community real quickly, like, if you've been listening to this last 35 or 40 minutes, I just want you to imagine in your mind what you think a company like this should be worth. And then I want to tell you that right now, according to, CoinGecko, this company has about a $30 million market cap. Once again, not financial advice, but when I close my eyes and after listening to all of the value and all of the things that you do, I see a multi-billion-dollar company, and it's almost astounding to me that right now you are valued at around $30 million. So do with that what you will, folks. Do your own research, do your own due diligence. Once again, John and I were not financial advisors. We're not here to try to convince you to, go buy Dimitra token. But at the same time, I am here to say, hey, you might want to take a very long, hard look at this company and see if it aligns with your values and with your investing strategies. And I can tell you that I personally love this token and am excited to be a long-term holder of it.
Me too. I'm a big holder of our own token and have made huge investments into the company. I believe in what we're doing, and our employees believe in what we're doing, and it appears the market believes in what we're doing, and we're seeing a lot of good results in the agricultural market and the food market. And so, follow what we do. We talk about some of the projects, and that'll help your research. So you can see in some of those articles and in some of those videos what we're doing and how many people we're affecting.
Amen, man. Well, I really appreciate your time. I know you're probably looking forward to going having some fun, maybe jumping into an ocean or a hot tub this afternoon. So I will let you, go and enjoy the rest of your day. But you're always welcome on the channel. I look forward to staying in close touch, and just thank you once again for taking some time out of your busy schedule to share all of this with me and my community.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and thank you everybody in the community, and reach out if you want more information. We have lots of team members, and hit us on Twitter or DM us on Twitter or post in any of our social channels, and somebody should be listening.
Awesome. Well, with that, we're going to go and, enjoy the rest of our day too here. So God bless you all. Thank you for watching, and we will see you again here real soon in the next video. Take care all.